Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to make some delicious vegan cornbread, and it's so simple and so tasty. Who doesn't love cornbread? I do. And you can serve it with, of course, chili, but you don't have to save it for just chili. So the first thing we're going to start with is we're going to make our buttermilk. So we're just going to take our plant-based milk, whatever you want to use. I believe I'm using almond milk here. And we're going to add in some apple cider vinegar. And we're going to set that aside and let it kind of curdle. And that is going to make our pseudo buttermilk. And that's going to make our cornbread light and fluffy. Put that aside. The next thing we're going to end up doing is making our flax egg. So in a small bowl, we're going to take 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed, or flax meal, and add 3 tablespoons of hot water, give it a stir, and we're going to set that aside. This recipe is so simple. Now in a large bowl, we're going to add in our cornmeal. I'm using a fine cornmeal. It all depends on the texture you like of your cornmeal. I do like mine kind of delicate and soft. And then to this, we are going to sift the rest of our ingredients into our cornmeal, which is just our all-purpose flour, a baking powder, baking soda, and salt. It is, again, a very, very simple recipe. Doesn't take any time to slap it together. Now, if you're enjoying these recipes, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I would love you to subscribe to my channel so that you don't forget. And don't forget to hit that bell icon so you're notified every time I have a new recipe that goes up. And leave me a comment below on what you like to eat your cornbread with. I like mine just with soup. I like mine as something almost sweet, because in this recipe we're going to add a can of whole sweet corn. I love the little nuggets of corn in mine. And sometimes I actually make it a little bit savory and add a little cayenne pepper. My husband loves it with a little bite of spiciness. Again, sorry, I digress. Back to the recipe. So we're just going to sift our ingredients in. We just want to make sure that everything gets mixed in well. We want to make sure our flour is light and fluffy. I'm probably just trying to multitask here. Yeah, just adding in, again, just the baking soda, baking powder, and salt. Super simple. We're just using that for our leavening agent. And then again, the apple cider vinegar in the buttermilk is going to react with the baking powder and baking soda to help it fluff up. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to head to the stove, and we're going to melt half of a cup of vegan butter with a half a cup of brown sugar, and we just want it to dissolve the brown sugar. That's all we're kind of doing. Just turn on the heat a little bit. Very simple. So we're just going to let that dissolve. Meanwhile, you should have preheated your oven to 400 degrees, and you can have a 9x9 square baking dish greased and lined. Now you can also change that up and make muffins if you prefer. That way they're an individual serving. And that's always fun and easy to do. You would just readjust the baking time. I would probably, these are probably going to bake for about 25 minutes, give or take. And everybody's oven is different, guys. So I'm only going to give you like a ballpark. So just always please check as you're cooking. But if you're doing muffins, I would probably say between 15 and 20 minutes. And again, it will depend on how full you make your muffin pans. Also, how big a muffin pan you do. You can make little mini muffins. That would be super cool at if you're doing like a chili bar. Anyway, we're back. We're just melting the brown sugar. And once that's all melted, we've got that all melted and going, we're just going to add our maple syrup to that. And then we're just going to start combining all of our wet ingredients in with our dry ingredients. our buttermilk goes in with our butter and brown sugar with maple syrup. Our flax egg goes in. Give that all a stir. You want to make sure it's pretty incorporated. And then you're just going to add all that into your dry ingredients. You want to make sure it's well incorporated. You don't want to over stir. You just want to make sure that everything gets incorporated well. And then just before it's all incorporated, that's when we're going to add in about 1.5 cups of canned whole sweet corn. You could use frozen. I would just defrost it, maybe warm it up just a tad. You want to just make sure it's not too wet. But I basically put in a whole can of the sweet corn. It called for 1.5 cans, and there's still about 1/4 cup left over, so I just tossed it in because I love the kernels of corn in there. It just makes it so sweet and so delicious. You don't even need to serve this with butter. This is a low-fat recipe, guys. There is no fat in this recipe whatsoever. Oh, I lied. Sorry, there is 1/2 cup of vegan butter. I was so excited there for a second. I couldn't remember that I put the vegan butter in. But for the amount, 1/2 cup of butter between 12 or 18 muffins or this 9x9 is a low amount. You could try swapping it out for applesauce. It's not going to be as light and fluffy, but you could give it a try. You could replace it with some cannelli beans. But this recipe turned out wonderful. So we're just going to put it in our prepared pan. Make sure you get every last drop because it is delicious. I love my blue bowl, by the way. It's so springy. I did this around Easter time, so. Just make sure it's all evenly distributed. And we're going to put that in the oven at 400 degrees for about 25 minutes. I would check it after 20 just to see if it's cooked all the way through. Again, you can see my oven is at 400 and in it goes. And then when it comes out, you will see it is light and fluffy. So I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment below, give it a big thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.